Hi guys, my name is Katie. I'm a criminal defense attorney and a former federal prosecutor, and I wanted to make this video to talk about, again, the real reasons that you never talk to the police. As a criminal defense attorney, I can tell you that the number one thing that breaks my heart in some way is when somebody calls me when they're under investigation and they tell me that they've already interviewed with law enforcement. It's really difficult because I know that if you never talk to the police, if you are under investigation, or even if you're in any encounter with law enforcement, if you never talk to the police, your case will be stronger on the defense side. That's the truth. So I think that it's important to really get this message out there that not only does everyone know you don't talk to the police, you lawyer up, you invoke your Fifth Amendment rights, we know that general principle. But the problem is that when you are in that moment, when you're confronted with law enforcement aggressively demanding that you answer some questions for them and give them some explanation about what's going on, you can really let go of that advice altogether, because if you don't understand why it's in your best interest, it probably won't stick with you as much. So here's really why it is 100% in your best interest to not talk to law enforcement if you are ever investigated for a crime, or even if you're a witness that's somehow implicated in any way whatsoever in something that the police are investigating. The number one reason is, if you are taken to trial, you cannot introduce your own statements against you. When the police read you your Miranda rights, you'll notice, if you listen carefully, that they say anything you say can and will be used against you. And the reason that they're saying against you is literal. You cannot introduce it and use it for your case. The prosecutors can only use that statement against you. So any pre-trial statements you make, if you are confronted with law enforcement or even any other people that are looking into this, anything you say can only be used against you. So if you are confronted and deny that anything happened, and then later try to show in your trial, look, I said that I was innocent all along, I said it right after I was confronted, you can't use that statement. You cannot use that statement. The prosecutors can only use it against you if they so choose to introduce it in their case. So that's a big reason why you should never talk to the police, especially if you're under some sort of criminal investigation or any allegations of that sort. The other reasons that you really don't talk to the police, I mean, besides the ultimate outcome being so greatly better for you in a lot of cases, is really because in that stressful sort of moment, you don't have the wherewithal to really talk coherently in many cases. And not only that, you don't have any idea what evidence they have against you. You're speaking to them based on their telling you they're looking into something, the allegation against you. But they're not going to hand you their case file. They're not going to let you see what they actually have, if anything, that involves you or involves anybody that you know. And more than that, they can actually lie to you and misrepresent what they already have in their evidence. So you would be speaking to the police in any sort of criminal investigation from a very disadvantaged point. They have a whole case file, you don't have anything. So if you do decide to talk in that sort of scenario, what happens is that you could say your best memory of what happened. You went to dinner at 5 o'clock and then you went to the bowling alley at 6. Later on, if you're taken to trial, you'll be given access finally to that case file. If you read the statements of all of your friends that are interviewed throughout the case, and you see, oh, that's right, we actually went to dinner at 3. It was a really weird thing, and I totally forgot about that. You then have to go back and revise your statement because you were speaking blindly without access to any of those items that you otherwise would have had, and admit that you made a mistake, that now you're remembering differently. It seems innocent enough unless you're taken to trial, where they can then show that you're completely unreliable. Anything you're saying is a lie. You can't be believed, and you have had to admit essentially that you made a mistake. And it may have been very innocent. It happens all the time. But that's why we always tell people you're going to be in a far better position to respond to any of this evidence if you actually get to read it first. If you're just speaking to the police without any lawyer, without any chance to review anything, without even any real knowledge about what they have that involves you, if anything at all, then you're putting yourself in a bad position. You could really sink your own boat, if you will, and they may not have anything on you at all. I've had cases where it's so tragic because, to the extent a criminal defense attorney wants to win a case, people have been called into law enforcement. Law enforcement has claimed that they had certain information that implicated them in a crime. Client confesses. Maybe they're guilty, maybe they were pressured, and the evidence never really existed at all. Most commonly seen in polygraph cases where people will go in and talk to law enforcement. Law enforcement will ask them if they'd be willing to take a polygraph, a lie detector. They don't have to. Whether you have a lawyer or you don't have a lawyer, you don't have to consent to that. But they choose to because they think, again, I just want to be cooperative. I don't want to look guilty. This might be my biggest way out. So they take the lie detector. And regardless of the results, the police can tell them, we know you're lying, you failed the lie detector test, you might as well fess up now. We have you, it's over, just get it over with. That could all be complete BS, and that is in fact constitutional for the police to do that. But you won't know at that point in time. You will just have to believe them, and they're trained interrogators. So they're pretty convincing. You're in a coercive type environment in a sense. I mean, you're sitting in a police station. So you don't want to be in that position regardless of the circumstances or regardless of how innocent you are. You need to be meticulous in how you defend a case and how you defend yourself. So that was what I wanted to share today. I know that was kind of a little bit more on the criminal side, if you will, which is what I deal with, but we can talk generally about anything else relating to criminal justice, law enforcement. Just let me know what you are interested in. And thanks for tuning in. Bye.